Hey guys, Ivan here, and in today's video we got a couple of very interesting bodybuilding updates. The first one is from Krizo, who is preparing to compete at the New York Pro. At this point right here, in this physique update from today, he is around 12 weeks out of the show and his conditioning is actually pretty good for this point. As I'm sure all of you guys know, last year he had a shoulder surgery and he was off of the gym for a while. He wasn't training, he was recovering from that surgery. He definitely took some time off of everything, I would say, the gear as well, and he definitely looked a lot downsized. He was down in size and in conditioning as well, of course, but then he started prepping and first he blew up. He got really big, but he wasn't super conditioned. And already, at this point, he's already in really good shape. For 12 weeks out, this is really good. I would say this is probably better conditioning than Nick Walker right now, for example, who is actually 10 weeks out of Pittsburgh and obviously 12 weeks out of New York Pro, where he's going to be facing Krizo. Now, in our predictions for the New York Pro, we're all considering Nick Walker as most likely the winner, and then there is some talk about Regan potentially challenging Nick Walker. But what about Krizo? Nobody's actually talking about this guy as a potential winner of this show or potentially the runner-up, somebody who is actually going to push Nick Walker the most. Look, you know what they say, you're only as good as your last showing, and Krizo's last show was Spain Pro, and it was right before his shoulder surgery. Coming to this show, he was definitely the heavy favorite to win, but he ended up losing to both Beckruz and William Bonac because he was way off. His conditioning wasn't good and he wasn't really there with the fullness and muscularity because he was not able to train as hard as he needs to obtain the best look possible. After that, he had a shoulder surgery and now he's coming back. And what he can bring this year at the New York Pro, guys, when Krizo is on, that can be a really dangerous bodybuilder. He has some really unique genetics. He has flaws, of course, everybody does. I would say the biggest flaw would be his posing. Hopefully he got that figured out, at least improved a little bit. And as far as conditioning, he can nail it. Here at this show, this is not the best he ever looked. I think his best was 2022 Spain Pro where he won, but I couldn't find the video or the high quality photos of that show. This was actually 2023 after the Mr. Olympia at the Prague Pro. He tried to fix his fullness. He was definitely very flat at the Mr. Olympia. Here he came in fuller, but he wasn't exactly super shredded as he can be. Now, as far as the flaws in his muscularity, it's definitely not anything in his front body. Like, it's definitely not the arms, it's not the shoulders, it's not the chest, it's not the quads. The midsection is good, the stomach, the size of the waist, everything is good from the front. From the sides and from the back, there is one pretty big weakness, and that would be, as silly as it sounds, his glutes. And also, like, his back could be bigger, but the glutes are definitely an issue because even though it's really not a muscle that we should pay too much attention to, as long as it's lean, it's good enough, at least it's supposed to be. But when it is this small compared to the rest of the body, it can definitely throw off the balance. The back, I think the back would look good if he practiced posing a little bit more, but yeah, the glutes are definitely something he needs to improve to fix his side and back poses. But again, everybody has flaws, nobody's perfect, and if Krizo actually progresses, why would he make progress? Well, because he cleaned out. Look at his posing here. He definitely needs to fix this. He can do it. He can definitely present much better. So if he fixed that, and also if he refreshed his body, refreshed his receptors by taking the time off after the surgery and comes back potentially better than ever, I think he definitely has a shot at the New York Pro title. In the meantime, I actually found the footage of his best look, if you ask me, the best peak at least. I think he improved some body parts after this show, but as far as conditioning and fullness, the combination of both, this was, in my opinion, his best ever. He was shredded here and he was big and full. It was a really good look. I don't think Nick Walker or Regan have this kind of muscle quality, this kind of details and separation, this kind of a clean, plastic, super shredded look. I don't think they can obtain something like this. We'll find out soon enough if Krizo actually made some improvements in the past 3 years, but if he nails the conditioning like he did here, how high can he place in the New York Pro? What do you guys think? Alright, the next update we got is actually from Regan Grimes, a bodybuilder that is competing at this New York Pro that is going to challenge both Nick Walker and Michal Krizo. And as you can see, Regan Grimes posted this photo right here. And it's not much of a physique update, but the caption is very interesting because it seems like he's trying to make a statement. He says, "Team, no thigh gap." I think this whole thigh gap thing started with Quinton Araya because he had a huge thigh gap after finishing his prep with Matt Jansen, where he lost a lot of muscle, and Regan is trying to tell us that there is no gap between his thighs, and for sure there isn't one. His adductors are pretty freaking big. It seems like he got a pump, but he also flexed them. Actually, I think he just squeezed his glutes. He pushed the hips in, and when you do that, you can flex your adductors, but it won't show a lot of details in your quads. And what I'm kind of paying attention to the most here is Regan's legs, because that was, I would say, a weak point for Regan. In the off-season, when he's big and full, it doesn't look like one. It looks like he has big legs. For example, right here. Right? So he definitely looks like he has some decent legs. Here he is not doing what he was doing in the photo before. He is not pushing with his hips and glutes forward. He's actually trying to flex the quads, and he's trying to show some separation and outer sweep as well, and it looks decent right now at this point in the off season, and it usually does in Regan's off seasons. But on stage, it's definitely a different story, especially when he's in condition. When he's not exactly super conditioned, like I said, even in the off-season, when he's fuller, his legs do look really good, but once he actually gets shredded, his legs are probably the body part that suffers the most, that ends up looking kind of stringy. I mean, even here, he doesn't have much of a thigh gap, because his adductors are pretty good, but as far as like the outer sweep, he could definitely use a lot more size in the legs. It's not just the outer sweep, but it's the overall thickness of the legs. Like, his legs, they have a decent shape, but when he gets shredded, they kind of lose that size and fullness. And this is him at the Mr. Olympia 2 years ago when he placed in the top 10. And he was in really good condition, but he definitely lost a lot of fullness. If you compare this to his Italy Pro version, it's definitely a lot different. And the conditioning here at Italy show wasn't there. Like, he was definitely very soft, he wasn't in condition, but overall, in his case, with his muscularity, I think this was a better look for him. I'm not sure if this was Italy or Spain. Actually, I think this was actually Spain, because I know he competed against Nathan Diasha at Italy and then 1 week later at Spain, and he lost in Italy and he won in Spain after that. In my opinion, he was even better at Italy. I'm not sure which one this was. I think this was Spain, but even like this, like, not perfect condition, but with a lot of fullness, with the size, I think he looks better. So if he didn't gain a lot of muscle, I think he should still go for this kind of a look. Yeah, not super shredded, not really, but if he gets so stringy like he was at a Mr. Olympia, it's not gonna be a good thing for him at the New York Pro, especially now that he's going against some really massive freaks like Nick Walker, like Michal Krizo. And based on this physique update, do I think he added a lot of muscle in the legs? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't look like a drastic change, but I'm expecting him to still be a little bit bigger. I mean, so far, every year he competed, he was definitely a lot bigger than the year before. He would gain like 5 to 10 pounds in the off-season so far, but maybe at this point he kinda reached some sort of a plateau where he won't be able to put on a lot more muscle without really trying hard. And Regan is notorious for being probably the laziest bodybuilder of today, a pro bodybuilder, a top bodybuilder, top 10 and a Mr. Olympia bodybuilder. People are still saying that he is very lazy. Like, for example, Mike Wenwick recently said it on Fuad's podcast because he trained with Regan. They're in the same gym and he sees him training and he says that he's not really that focused, that he's not really that driven. So even considering that, he was still able to make a lot of progress so far, but there will come a point where he won't be able to anymore. Probably. Maybe not, but probably there will be a point. And is this that point? I mean, I don't think so. He took 2 years off, so I still think he made some progress. I think he will still be better than the last time we saw him on stage, but is he going to be drastically improved, especially in the legs? I don't think so. I don't think he's going to look super big and full in the legs, but is there going to be some sort of a change? Yeah, probably. I think so. It seems like the adductors are bigger as far as the outer sweep. I don't know, guys. What do you think? Like, is he going to be improved, and where do you see him placing? You know, pushing Nick Walker for that first, you know, placing in second, or even beating Nick Walker, or placing below Mikhail Krizo in like top 3? What do you guys think? Tell me down below. And if you guys want to add some fullness to your physique, to your legs, you can try adding some creatine into your supplement stack. It's definitely the one supplement that I would use if I had to choose only one. 5 grams before workout and 5 grams after. That's the way I suggested. You can get it on the Hostel website. It's not very expensive. It's only $30, and if you use the code EVEN10, you get a 10% off. And I can tell you only one thing about this creatine: it's well micronized, and that's really it. It's not flavored, it's just creatine like any other, but it comes in a really cool package, and if you buy a couple of other things, just add this one into your mix for sure, and make sure you use the code EVEN10 for a 10% discount, and that's how you can support this channel as well. Now let's proceed to the last physique update for today, which is Nick Walker. In the caption he says decent, and this is definitely way more than decent. And finally he found some pretty good lighting. He can still do better than this, but this was actually pretty good. Now, Nick Walker is again doing the New York Pro, and his biggest challenge at that show are gonna be Regan, Grimes, and Krizo, as far as I know, as of right now. And he is definitely beating those two guys in the side shots, especially in the side chest. None of those two guys have the thickness that Nick has in the side shots. In the back shots, I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same story. He's going to destroy those two guys. But as far as the front shots, that's where he can lose some ground. He doesn't have the best width taper. He doesn't have the smallest waist. He has some imbalances and some lack of aesthetics. But in the side shots like this one, a crazy amount of thickness like everywhere. In the legs, I mean, look at the quad height. I mean, the quads are super massive from the side. I mean, Nick doesn't have the best sweep, but the density, the thickness of his legs is actually pretty nuts. And let's not even talk about the hamstrings and the hamstring drop. Like, that's his strongest body part, I would say, after biceps. And then as far as his upper body, the back to chest width, it's pretty freaking good. It's really good. He's still like not doing the side chest most muscular. He's still turned to the side. He's just opening up his chest and his shoulders. He's trying to show us his width while still turning to the side. I think he actually mastered this pose quite well. What he can make a mistake with, what can be an issue, would be his midsection. If he lets it go in this pose, it can definitely be problematic. Even though he can hide it a little bit with his hands, it's still gonna be an issue if he lets it go. So that's the only thing here in this photo. He's keeping it tucked in, he's definitely controlling it. I hope he's going to do the same thing on the stage. But as far as the overall size and the fullness, and I mean, the main thing is the size. Like, he's probably the best, one of the, if not the best, the biggest bodybuilder of today. Super freaking massive, super thick, crazy. Again, he's 10 weeks out of Pittsburgh Pro and 12 weeks out of New York Pro. Conditioning for 10 weeks out, it's good. He's not ahead, but he is not late either. And you can't really see that much from the side, but you can definitely see a lot more from behind because he did post back lat spread as well. And as you can see, I mean, he is not in condition yet, not even close. You can definitely see it based on his glutes mainly, and the lower back. Of course, those are the two areas where guys hold most of their fat. But even if he wasn't showing his lower back or his glutes, you would still be able to see his conditioning based on his hamstrings and his back. So it's not quite there yet. And honestly, back right here, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look very impressive. It was definitely a lot better on the New York Pro stage. But I think it's mainly because he's not in condition and he probably didn't hit the pose perfectly. Basically, the only thing that I can see in this photo is that he is not in condition yet. I don't know why he posted this photo. It's not a very good one, but that's Nick Walker. He's showing us the good, the bad, and the ugly, I guess. He's not really hiding away his weaknesses. He's showing us everything. And even though this pose doesn't look very good, the overall shot looks pretty bad, he's showing it to us so we know what he looks like. But I'm sure this will improve significantly as he gets more shredded. This one, however, much better, much more impressive. Let's end the video with this shot. Whatever you guys think where he will place in the New York Pro, whether he will win or not, whether Krizo or Regan have a shot against him, tell me down below in the comment section. If you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. For more content like this, subscribe to the channel. And once again, if you want to support me and this channel, buy Hostile supplements and use the code EVEN10 for a 10% discount. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you soon. All the best and bye-bye.